On parle beaucoup du mentorat. We talk a lot about the importance of mentorship in Freemasonry as being one of the key elements in not only retaining brethren, but also in helping them grow in the future. And I've got to say that over the last couple of years, Andre has been an amazing mentor to me. And I just wanted to thank you, Andre, for spending the time helping me get involved in your programs. Tu m'as énormément aidé pour me préparer dans ce poste et j'ai des très grands souliers à remplir, mais je fais mon possible. Alors, en reconnaissance de ton aide et ton mentorat, so in recognition of this mentorship that you provided me, Andre, I'd like to present to you with this set of cufflinks. You know why I wanted to give you this set of cufflinks?
Pray tell.
Because these cufflinks are part of the special edition jewels that we have prepared through Hratch Banis, Brother Hratch Banis, and they're composed of Swarovski crystal. And the special element, l'élément spécial du cristal Swarovski, c'est qu'elle capte la lumière et la rayonne encore plus brillant. So the Swarovski crystal, the special property is that it captures light and then projects it and magnifies it. And that reminds me of you. So I just wanted to thank you for
Most worshipful Grand Master, thank you for the kind gift and the kind words. And as you mentioned, it captures the light and spreads it. It's a little bit like Freemasonry, actually, where we as Freemasons are taught to capture that light which sparks from within. And as we go from the rough ashlar to the perfect ashlar, we become better men and project that into society. So how appropriate that you have chosen this as a gift for me. I really appreciate it. I also want to say that as a Grand Master, nothing that has been done over the past 2 years has been done without the help of a strong and vibrant team. People that have been dedicated to change and that have gotten on board to see this fraternity grow and become stronger as a result. J'aimerais remercier tout le monde qui ont participé et qui ont aidé à faire grandir cette fraternité qui a supporté l'équipe dans les 2 dernières années. Mais c'est pas à propos de moi ce soir, and it's not about me this evening. So enough said on what has happened in the past. We now look to the future. And as I step to the side and I now look at you coming in as our Grand Master, I look at you with great pride, thinking we are on good, solid footing moving forward. And I'm sure that your agenda, Most Worshipful Grand Master, will bring this fraternity even further to the betterment of the craft within the province of Quebec. And I thank you and all of your team, not only for what you've done here this evening and what you've done in support of the agenda over the past 2 years, but more importantly, what you're going to be doing over the next 2 years. And I look forward to offering whatever help I can in aid of your program. Thank you very much. Thank you for the gift. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde.
Everybody. One last gift, Worshipful Grand Master. This is for you to wear proudly. It is your past Grand Master's jewel, and it gives me great pleasure and honor to present this to you so that you may wear it in the future. Sa médaille de passé Grand Maître. 50 years ago, almost to the day, il y a 50 ans presque la journée même, as a young boy, I loved sports. All I wanted to become was a professional athlete. In the wintertime, I wanted to become a professional hockey player. In the summertime, I wanted to become a professional baseball player. So, 50 years ago, The Montreal Expos came to Montreal. The first professional baseball team in the major leagues came to Montreal in 1969, April 1969. What the team did is they organized tryout days for young baseball players. You could sign up, show up to the tryout day, and the best players were selected at the end of the day to play a game in Jerry Park, old Jerry Park, on a major league field. This is what I wore 50 years ago. This is the actual baseball cap I had in June 1969. These are the cleats that I wore. They don't even make these anymore. Ils en font plus comme ça because they're too dangerous. They're metal cleats, and there's still some 50-year-old mud on the bottom of these cleats. I just noticed that. And I also have some other interesting stuff in here. These are the actual socks that I wore. They're even still rolled up. So these are 50 years old, and I had them that day in June 1969. So my best friend and I, Peter Marsh is my best buddy, we signed up for one of these days, and we went through the routine. We were picking up ground balls, throwing, we were catching fly balls, hitting, and we had a great time that day. At the end of the day, the coaches had to select the team. So we were lined up, we had to go over to the coach's table. My buddy, Peter Marsh, ran over, got the news, he was on the team, he was ecstatic. I was standing over there, I was so happy because my buddy got on the team. It was my turn, I was in line, ready to go. I ran over. What's your name, son? Marc David, sir. He ran his finger down the list because there was a column of, they graded how good you were that day, so he ran his finger down the column. Sorry, son. Here's your t-shirt. You didn't make the team, but you're welcome to stay and watch the game, no problem. So I said, no, sir. I mean, my greatest desire was to become a professional baseball player, and I wanted to play on that field that day. So I said, sir, sorry, you made a mistake. It's Marc David. Please, you got to look at that list. And as he ran his finger down again to Marc David, I could see in that column 2 words. Too small. Too small? I want to be a professional baseball player. It's my biggest desire was to be a pro baseball player. I'm not too small. So I was devastated. I was completely devastated. J'étais dévasté. Trop petit, mais voyons donc. Je joue au baseball, je suis pas trop petit. But I learned 2 things that day, and it stuck with me. It's probably why I'm here today. I learned 2 things. The first thing I learned was the burning desire to achieve a goal wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that I had wanted more than anything else in the world to become a professional baseball player. C'était pas assez. C'était pas assez de juste de vouloir. The second thing I learned was, 50 years ago, was that if I was going to achieve my goals, I was going to have to become the best that I could be by working my little tail off, my short little tail off. I had to work harder than anybody else. When I got to high school, I focused my attention on a sport where my height wasn't a factor. That sport was called volleyball. C'est le volleyball. Pas nécessairement le meilleur sport pour un petit cours. When you look at the criteria for good volleyball players at an elite level, height is probably number 1. But there are other aspects. There's things like quickness, speed, jumping ability, court sense. So I knew that if I couldn't affect my height, I could certainly work on all those other aspects. So what I did on my own is I did research. I looked, in those days we didn't have the internet, but we had things like tapes, and we had books, and I studied what it took to become an elite athlete. I studied plyometrics. I studied nutrition. I looked at weight training. I used to wear weights to high school on my feet so I could jump higher. When I first started, and I couldn't even touch, the net off of a basketball rim, I couldn't even touch that jumping. But by the time I matured in that sport, I could grab it with two hands by jumping. Now, in volleyball, there's a position called a setter. C'est le passeur au volleyball. And that fit my profile. So, to be a good setter, what you have to do is, you're looking at the other team, the ball is served, it's bumped, and you gotta run over to where the ball is, and you set it up. You go back to where you were before, the ball's served, run over, set it. And to be good, you gotta put it exactly where you want. Faut que ça soit exactement où tu veux le mettre. So I would set thousands of times a day. I'd be at home, I'd be setting up against the walls. I'd go down on my knees, set. I'd roll around, I'd make myself dizzy and set to a basketball net until I was able to hit the point exactly where I wanted to. The other important thing about becoming a good setter is that you have to understand your teammates. The only way that you can become fulfilled in volleyball is if you help your teammates become successful as a setter, because you're the one that's touching the ball every second time. You're the one that's feeding your teammates. So you have to understand their physical ability. You have to understand their psychological makeup. You have to understand their emotional makeup in order to make them successful. So my fulfillment in that sport was based on my ability to help my teammates. In 1981, I achieved my goal of playing at an elite level. This is a jersey that I traded with a player. The older guys remember this, the younger guys don't, but CCCP was the old Soviet Union. On the front, there's this really cool crest here. So, I was lucky enough to play on a team that went to Europe, and we played some of the top clubs in Europe and in the world at that time. We played against Moscow Dynamo, Legia from Warsaw, Poland. There was a team from Helsinki called Policen Balosora. And I was able to play at an elite world-class level just by being able to help other people become successful. So the way I got this jersey is that after international matches, what you do is you trade jerseys. You'll trade practice jerseys. So I had my jersey. I traded it with the Russian guy. Threw it up to catch it, and he bent down and gave me his jersey like that. Because these guys were huge. When they would come and block over the net, the court would become dark. That's how big they were. Fast forward 10 years later. After working in the corporate life in the healthcare industry, I wanted to start my own business. And using the skills and philosophy that I had before, I wanted to find the best person to help me become successful in my business. Because I wanted to become the best in my business. Je voulais être le meilleur moi-même, donc je voulais trouver quelqu'un, un mentor, qui pouvait m'aider à être le meilleur. There was a guy that I knew that I'd hired as a consultant to work with my sales teams. There was something special about this guy. He was intelligent, empathetic, energetic, and there was this, I didn't know what it was, but I had an affinity towards this guy after I'd hired him to work for me. So when I started my own business, I sought this fellow out. I sought him out and I said, I want to start my own business, can you help me? He said, sure, no problem. He showed me how to work my compact 386, used Lotus 123. He showed me how to write proposals. He even took me on sales calls. He was running a training and development company. And that fellow helped me get started in my business over 28 years ago. This fellow said to me, Mark, we're doing all this stuff, but have you ever thought about becoming a Freemason? I said, what's that? If it's free, it's probably pretty good. C'est quoi ça, la franc-maçonnerie? So he said to me, we're a bunch of guys, we meet together once a month. We get together and we do little plays, and these plays have symbolism and we learn stuff, but more importantly, we help each other out. The group I'm involved with has a really interesting history. We're part of an old military lodge. At the time, that's what you call them. It's a lodge. It's a group of guys. They came over from England. They fought against the French, and they went all over the world, and just a bunch of really interesting history. That fella that I spoke to 28 years ago is sitting right over there. My friend and brother, Steve Gregory. Please stand up, Steve. Please do. Now, although Steve Gregory doesn't come to Lodge every month, he is one of the best Masons I know. He has done incredible work internationally to help fallen soldiers and veterans and recognizing Canadian military people. He's a great family man, and he's just a super guy. And thanks to Steve Gregory, I'm here today. So, in 1991, this is what I got. Got this in 1990, the Lodge of Antiquity number 1. And I have to give a shout out to my Lodge of Antiquity number 1 brethren over there. So when I joined Freemasonry, what I found was exactly what I wanted and what I needed. What I had learned in my athletic career, I found in Freemasonry. I found a toolbox. C'était un coffre d'outils. A toolbox that could help me fulfill myself by helping others become fulfilled. Fulfilling my goals only by helping others fulfill their goals. And in that toolbox was everything I needed. I could learn how to properly communicate, because in the athletic life we want to win. We want to win the game. But in our personal and professional lives, winning really means managing successful relationships. Positive, successful relationships. And that's what Freemasonry does. That's what it did for me. So, today I got this today. So when I got this today, just before I got it, I was right over there, kneeling down like this, and there was no pad. I remember telling Peter Pascali, we were sitting on the side, I said, Peter, there's no kneeling pad over there, and I'm going to have to kneel down on that ground. And I've got really bad knees from my volleyball days. Really bad. So when I was kneeling down there, and most spiritual brother Mayat was giving me the obligation, I could remember my athletic days. It brought that back to me, because my knees were killing me. But more importantly, in receiving this, I got excited because Not only because of a platform to work with brethren to help them succeed and become fulfilled. And that, to me, was the most exciting thing that went through my mind at that time this afternoon. So brethren, what we need to be good at, we need to get good at taking men who have inquisitive minds, who are tolerant, and who are diligent, because you have to work. The only way you can become fulfilled is if you've got to put the work in. You've got to be doing the 1,000 sets. You've got to be doing the hundreds of jumps. Because if you don't do it, you won't achieve the feeling of fulfillment that all human beings want to achieve. That's what life is all about. So we're going to be working very hard on that in 3 areas in Quebec. The first area is in lodge support. We're going to be doing health lodge assessments. We want the brethren in the lodges to take a look at themselves and see where they can help themselves and apply programs to direct those deficiencies. And also work on the things that are doing very well. Deuxième chose, the second thing, is at the individual brethren level. We have a great team of brethren who are working on web education programs where we'll be able to use expert brethren in the jurisdiction to talk about things like Masonic development, personal development, and professional development. One of the things in running focus groups with young Masons is that they want to know, how do we apply the symbolism of Freemasonry into everyday personal and professional life? The third thing we're going to do in Quebec is we're going to be doing some public relation programs to help demystify the fraternity across the province. We have a number of programs. We're going to be involved in the Canada Day Parade. We have an expo. You saw the Expo Museum. We're having open houses, a number of things to get out there and let people understand who we are, what we do, and to get away from the Illuminati image that we have. The theme for my term is Consequi rem tuam. The theme c'est Consequi rem tuam, which means, in English it means, to achieve thy purpose. To achieve thy purpose, atteigner votre raison d'être. Because in order for you to put in the time, to do the work, to do the rituals, to meet with brethren, to do events such as this, you've got to have a reason. You've got to have a reason to do it. For me, my reason is the opportunity to inspire others, to help other brethren find fulfillment, and I can get very excited about that and do the work that's required. So in closing, I'd just like to say that if the great architect of the universe, si le grand architecte de l'univers, can give you all the wisdom and the strength, peut vous donner la force et la sagesse to achieve your purpose, pour atteindre votre raison d'être, we're all going to be in a very good place. Mark Twain, brother Mark Twain, said, there are 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you found out why. I would suggest, brother Mark Twain, that there's a 3rd day. And the 3rd day is the day you decide to do something about it. Thank you, brethren. Merci, jeudi.